All right, we are here with Ashley.Nichols. What's up, Ashley?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So good to see you. Thank you for being a part of this.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So I know we met recently at a dinner in San Diego with a lot of mutual friends, and it turns out you used to work in Las Vegas as well.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I came out here about 5 years ago, but I worked in the industry out there for, let's see, from 2008 to 2015.
That's awesome. So let's talk about what you do now. So you went from cocktail waitress in Vegas to wealth management advisor in San Diego. That's
Right.
amazing.
Yes. So I moved out here for school. I went to law school. So the plan was to be a lawyer and then decided I hated that. Worked in the industry for a little bit longer and then I went for my Series 7. And now yes, I work at Westpac Wealth Management, and that is what I do.
That's awesome. And I know we talked about another mutual friend, JP, who's been on the show as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We worked together. So we went to school together.
Yeah.
And then, like I was telling you before, so one of our friends from law school recruited us over. And now we kind of have like this legal finance team going on. So we do
That's awesome.
everything like estate planning, wills and trusts, financial stuff. So yeah, we do everything.
That sounds amazing. Perfect one-stop shop. I know JP keeps trying to get my money from me, so.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Sure he does. But you're like, oh, I like Ashley better, actually.
Well, well, now, yeah. Now he's gonna be like, God damn you, Ashley.
Right. Well, okay. So I will say, like I told you before, like I found this phrase as like financial improvement specialist, and like I like that so much better because people, when you say you're in finance, automatically you're looked at like a used car salesman, and they're like, they don't want anything to do with you, and that people don't understand like what like behind everything. It's the planning process that's the most important. So yeah, you have to kind of figure out a way to approach your clientele and like, to let them know what it is that you do, or to get them to want to hear what you do rather. So
Well, which obviously we both know everyone in the hospitality industry has disposable income. Who just blows it is probably good to get to know you.
Absolutely. That's something that I wish I would have had when I lived. So I'm born and raised Vegas, right? So now I live in San Diego. But so I started at the Win in 2008 as a server at the pool. And then I moved into Trist in 2010, and then from Trist into Excess. And yeah, I mean we make ridiculous money out there, and I never I mean I had investment accounts. I can't say I didn't have that, but there's different types of advisors, right? So I won't say like the companies that I was invested in, but you would bring a sum of money and they'd say, oh, okay, what's your risk tolerance? Okay, cool. Let's just put it in this account. You will yield this percentage, every year, and I'll see you in a year. We'll see if it's working, and that's it. And they don't take into account, like, do you have a mortgage? Do you have a car payment? Do you have, you know, what are your living expenses? What are you paying in tuition? Do you have kids? Like, they don't ask you any of that. And with the firm I'm with now, it's like we are like the board of directors to all of your other financial advisors and or financial endeavors, and kind of just put it together in one little nice package. So
That's awesome. I love that.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
let's go back. Let's start your hospitality career from the very beginning. Now, you didn't start at XS. With like your first entrance into the workforce. Like, what did you do? What would you do to build you up into how you got out?
Okay. So we prior to excess or at the start of excess?
I'm talking your first job in hospitality up until you got out.
All right. So, well, actually, I could say my first job in hospitality, I was a hostess at, it was called the Tillerman in Vegas. So, but other than that, I ventured into other things. And then, like I said, in 2008, um, I was working in construction. And yeah, I was a project manager, or project coordinator rather, for the project managers. And I thought I was going to keep going into that. And then the market crashed basically. So I was going to go work for Perini. And then the market crashed. So my friend was like, hey, I'm cocktailing at the Win at the pool. We're making really good money. You should just do this for the summer, and then you can do the construction thing, when the market returns, which we thought was going to be like 3 months later, end up lasting like a good 10 years. So Went to go work at the Win, absolutely loved it. Management there, at least food and beverage wise, amazing. But I had like, no plans, and then you're making really good money. And so then I got bored and I was like, I'm just gonna go back to school. So then I started doing my undergrad. I did that. I did business management. But then so let's see, from 2008 to 2010, I was casino floor and the pool. And then 2010, I went into Trist. And I didn't think I wanted to do that, but we had this thing at Excess or at the Win rather, where like they have Excess, the nightclub, right? And then have you ever been to the blackjack tables outside?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have,
They have a lot of my money actually.
right. Yes, the casino always wins, people, always. So what they would do though is they would have the casino girls work the blackjack table. And so I would be watching all the club girls, and I'm like, okay, I'm carrying this huge heavy ass tray, and they're making, they're bringing a bottle to a table and looking like they had way more fun. They weren't trying to like, they had to get through crowds, yes, but not also balancing drinks and making way more money than me. So anyways, I transferred over to Trist, and I did that. I also did real estate. So I got my real estate license. And then I was doing my undergrad, and then I was working Trist, and then I switched over to Excess when there was an opening, and then that's where I that's where I was until 2015.
So we must have overlapped because I think I was at XS for 5 months right before I left for Maui.
Okay.
I believe in 2010.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we overlapped
So
because I worked at Trist a little bit too, like a bartender at Trist, but I was mainly XS, but I think I trained at Trist and then was at XS all.
right. I mean, it was probably easy to do with me, especially because when I worked in hospitality in Vegas, I didn't go out. I was always working or in school. So like I said, I did real estate also. So like if I wasn't at the club on the weekends, I was either in school or I was showing houses. But the funny thing is, like when I moved out here, and I was started going to school out here, I was like, I'm gonna get back into hospitality. It's just a good source of income. It's easy money, you pay your rent, and you're going to school, and it's the flexibilities there. And I met everyone from Vegas here in San Diego, like versus, like I knew none of them out there, and we all worked together. It's kind of weird how that came full circle, but yeah.
Yeah, Vegas and San Diego are so intertwined when it comes to like nightlife and hospitality.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But it's exciting. It's nice. Like we're like, oh, like we all have something in common. So,
Yeah. Now, what was like your favorite part about working in the hospitality industry?
oh, well, the money for one. That's, I mean, obviously, the flexibility. Honestly, like if I hadn't, I don't think if I had started making so much money, because I literally just got bored, and I don't think I would have. It gives you the freedom to pretty much decide to do whatever it is that you want, and you're really only working. So at the time, it was let's see. So Tris was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and XS was Friday through Monday. But regardless, whatever, it's 3 or 4 days, and it's on the weekend. Yeah. So the flexibility and the freedom is probably number two, and then just you meet so many people. It's crazy. Like, and it builds your communication skills, your patience, your tolerance. So yeah.
Yeah, hospitality is probably the best networking tool you can ever do. I think everyone should either like go join the military or go to hospitality. And
Right.
it's kind of combined. I mean, hospitality is a lot like the military.
Yeah.
Depending on when you
Well, I've never been in the military, so I don't know, but okay, I will. I trust you.
Well, what was your least favorite thing about working in the industry?
Um, so in Vegas, well, the hours are brutal, especially in Vegas. San Diego's great. You come in at 10, your last call's 1:30, and then you're out the door. And I'll say, like, at least from my experience, my coworkers were amazing. We're all like family, but it felt like working for a large corporation. You're looked at as replaceable, which I didn't appreciate, because your employees have opinions and they value certain things, and that kind of wasn't um spotlighted on. It was just like, oh, we're here and there's a million other people that want to be in your spot. So if you don't want to be here, bye type of thing. So I would say that like my morale wasn't the highest, or you know, my intrinsic value wasn't at its highest when I was working there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I still talk to girls that have been there for the last decade that are still there, and they're not happy at all.
Right.
But
Right.
they can't leave the money. And I mean, I remember the money was great. Everyone thought I was crazy when I quit. I quit bartending. I was making $800 a night, and I moved to Maui. I was like, dude, you're at XS, like the best club ever. Went. Like, dude, I'm just over it.
Right.
Done.
Yeah, you do. I mean, money isn't everything. It does provide the freedom. It does. And I get that part. But if you can set yourself up, and I look back to see how much money I actually made and what I actually did with it, it's like if you can set yourself up while you're in there, there is an easy exit strategy once you're done. Like you just have to figure out the cash flow after the fact, but you can kind of set yourself up to be comfortable in that transition. So
But and that's the unfortunate thing is most people don't. They don't set themselves up because the
right.
money comes so fast and so quick that they blow it just as fast as it goes, and then all of a sudden 10 years go by and you blew hundreds of thousands of dollars and you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's the lifestyle. It's like you get used to it and you're just like, oh well, next week everything pays, my mortgage and my car is paid for, and I have no credit card bills, or at least you shouldn't. I shouldn't say you don't, but and it's like, yeah, and then no one thinks about it because they know then the next weekend they're like, okay, that's the money I'm going to take on my vacation, and then the next weekend it's like, it's just it's constantly coming at you. So you're right. There's no, sometimes people don't see the value in strategizing what you're going to do with your finances. So
Yeah, and even if you go in with like strong morals and strong like, okay, I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna do this, you get caught up like, hey, we're going to Mexico for the weekend. Let's go to
Mhm.
Cabo. Oh, I can go for 1 week, 2 weeks. I mean, we used to take trips, straight from the airport right after work, and boom, we're all gone. And
oh
you got
yeah,
a pocket full of money, you got friends, like you go have a good time, and it just
yeah,
rinse and repeat every other week.
right, yep, exactly. Not to say that those things aren't bad. They're not bad. Like um make experiences, like that's what life is all about. So I get that, but
The,
you
the,
know
the the experiences are a good part, but people with
yeah,
like the $1,000 a month car payments and the Louis Vuittons and all that crap,
right.
that was
Yes. And so that I never understood. So my parents raised us like, your car payment should never be, even half your mortgage payment. So like you don't need that crazy car payment, like unless you're living in your car. Like so that, yeah. Yeah.
I remember. I'm not going to say a name, but I remember we opened a nightclub. I won't say the nightclub either, but
Yeah.
when the first weekend the girl wasn't making money, and she was like, came to me crying because I was the manager. She's like, I can't make my car payment. I'm like, how much your car payment? It's like $1,100. I'm like, maybe get a new car. She looked at me like I was psychotic. She's like, I'm not
Right.
getting rid of my car. I'm like, you have an $1,100 a month car payment.
Yeah. And you're
What?
like, and why can't you pay it?
No, it's ridiculous. Like that's insane. Like I could buy any car in the world, and I chose to drive a Toyota because I love Toyotas. I've had 6 of them, but and I will never have a car payment over $500. That's
Yeah,
just me.
no, agreed. And Toyotas are great cars, honestly. Like they give no problems. I've had three. I've had no two, and then a Lexus. So same. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I get it.
Every time I've gone away from Toyota, I bought like a fully loaded Tahoe for like 55 grand that depreciated $30,000 in 18 months. Yeah,
Yep.
talk to me about a bad investment.
Right.
I bought a Jeep that depreciated like 20,000 and like I just got rid of it in like 2 years. I'm like, no, I'm never buying another car besides the Toyota ever again.
Right.
They're
Yeah. No,
perfect.
Toyotas, they're great. That was the first car my parents bought me, was a Camry. Or no, a Corolla. And yeah, you never have any issues. Like it's insane. And I've been told that my driving is subpar. So so I feel like I definitely ride into like my brakes and stuff. And I never had to change the brakes out. So, so I'm okay to admit that. It's fine. It's fine.
I love that. I've been told my driving is subpar.
I have by many. So so go Toyota.
If anyone from Toyota's listening, we can use like upgrades or
Yeah, exactly,
free
exactly.
oil change, something.
Do you need anyone for commercials? Here we are. Sponsor us.
I'm on my third Forerunner and I love them. They're like the ultimate car. I can go anywhere. It's snowboarding, mountain bike, like anything I want to do. I throw the toys in the back and it can go anywhere. So
Right.
that's my
Yeah,
car for my rest of my life.
I
Well,
get that. And
whatever
your
if I
car
can.
payment isn't $1,100.
Yeah, well, and it's paid off, but yeah, even better.
Perfect.
I love that subpar.
Yeah. It's a better word than, not good
Yeah.
or horrible. You're a horrible driver.
Hey, I've curbed several rims in my day, so I get it.
I'm still doing it. It's fine. Thank God for backup cameras.
I, especially living in California, like having a parallel park now because
Yeah.
parking's terrible. My backup camera saves my life.
Parking out here is atrocious. That's one thing I miss about Vegas. The parking. That's about the only thing I miss about Vegas, honestly. It's the
Yeah.
parking.
I feel like I've been talking to everybody and they're telling me it's 108 today. I'm like, wow, that sucks. It's 68 and sunny here. Beautiful.
Yeah, right. You're like, it's perfect.
We're sorry for everyone in Vegas that's sweating right now. I apologize,
Right.
but come visit us in San Diego.
Yes, yes.
Now, if you can go back in time, what would you change, or would you change anything throughout your career, your hospitality career?
Um, I don't, again, I don't think I would change anything, but again, I would definitely have taken, my finances a little bit more seriously. I mean, I bought a house, I had retirement funds, I had savings, but I just didn't plan ahead, so when I was at UNLV, I got my undergrad in management and I went on to my MBA. And then um I really just didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was towards the end of the recession. Everyone was going back to school. And so I found a dual, it was the MBA JD, and so that's where I transferred to California. And I really didn't anticipate, your first year in law school, you can't work. So I didn't anticipate any of that. So I, kind of had to liquidate my retirement and stuff like that because I wasn't having an income here. And it's way more expensive to live here, obviously, than Vegas. And I still had my house, but I was renting it. And so, yeah, so I would definitely have like really sat down with somebody and planned ahead of a time. But you're young, you don't know at that time. But that's probably the one thing that I would have changed. But other than that, I think
Yeah,
I was everything.
I've spoken to other people and they said like once they got out, they couldn't turn the spending off because you're so used to having that money that they
Right.
couldn't turn it off, and that's what they like. They had to go bankrupt in a lot of things. They had to like relearn how to budget and things because I've never really budgeted. I go to a store, you buy shit. I never looked at like groceries and prices and all that stuff. But
Right.
in the real world outside of hospitality, you have to learn to budget and all that stuff. So do you think that was kind of the
Right.
hard part is not being able to work for the year and you're still
Um,
spending like you were making it?
yes. But I will say I've always been that way. Even when I wasn't, yeah, even when I wasn't making that kind of money, a really good rule of thumb that my parents always taught me was like, if you have to look how much it costs, you can't afford it. So it's like if you're in the mall and you have to see it, just walk by it, like so. Um, I try to live by that, but at some point I probably, yeah. So yes, my answer is yes. I probably should look at the cost of things before I splurge. But you know what? Now with like Instagram and online buying, that is my biggest vice. That is like, yeah, exactly. But I think we probably all have it, but it's just like you're just scrolling through and everything gets you. It's marketing tactics. It gets me every time.
It,
Um,
it it's way too convenient to have Amazon drop things off of my house. Like, oh, I want this. Boom, I'll have it in 48 hours. It's way too convenient.
right? Yeah, you don't even have to go. Yeah, you go nowhere. You can even get groceries delivered, all in the convenience of your own home. So yeah, I mean, I should definitely, I could have budgeted better. I think when I moved here for sure.
Yeah, I need to delete my Amazon app. The good thing about moving here, I'm not sure if I can get packages here yet, and I don't want to know that because I looked at my
Oh,
Amazon account over the last like 2 years, and Amazon shouldn't be your house hundreds of times in
Oh, yeah. You probably shouldn't look at that
no.
anyways. It's in the past.
I'm just gonna forget it exists for a little while.
Exactly.
Now, when did you realize that you first wanted to get out of the hospitality industry?
So when I went into it, it was temporary for me. Anyways, like I said, I thought I was only going to be in it for a summer. And it was always temporary though. So it was just a matter of when was I going to find the career path that I wanted to take before leaving, So there was never, I mean, so in the answer to your question, there was never like a moment in time where I was like, okay, I really want to get out. I actually no, I'll take that back. So it was supposed to be short term, but I think 2020, right? I was like, all right, what are you doing? Like, you don't like law. You want to do something completely different. And I really enjoyed the whole process of getting my MBA and stuff, and the finance and just the business aspect of things. So yeah, probably COVID was like, hey, like, what are we doing here? Because we're not working. And so yeah.
So that did you actually have to go and like resign, or did you like, or did the job just end and you just never went back?
I actually, well, we were furloughed first, right? And then summer 2020 hit and we were able to come back um for the pool though. And I didn't really, I was pretty reluctant, but you know, what I was like, we're not doing anything else. Like, we're just here. So I worked that pool season. So I was here at the Pendry actually until October, and then had to resign because, or actually no, they laid me off because the season had ended. So yeah.
That's
So easy transition. Yeah.
that's good. So COVID kind of helped with your transition, because a lot of people, they try to get out for years and they'll juggle both until they figure it out. So COVID kind of helped a lot of people just, okay, boom, it's done, time to move on.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, the cool part was, so I was going to move, and then all of a sudden, like, all these things started happening, and to keep me here in San Diego. But I was telling you before, a friend of mine that I went to law school with recruited me over to where I'm at now, to Westpac. And I met with the CEO and I did my due diligence on what this firm was about and how they did things differently. Um, and ultimately ended up, staying. So yeah, I mean, whether that would have happened with or without COVID, I'm not sure, but it definitely, you know, pe- um, I think I would have been interested even if I was still working, in the nightclub. But it definitely was a hard cut. Yeah.
Now, how's your lifestyle changed since, no more having to go work in clubs and pools and weekends and all that stuff? How's that lifestyle change been for you?
Um, it's kind of the same because I now it's all about networking, right? So I love going out with my friends. I love meeting new people. So now it's just like, I'm just not there working, but I'm still there and I'm still meeting new people. Like, I go into Oxford all the time, like, since everything's been open now. And so it hasn't really, I probably go out about the same. I was gonna say maybe more, but I feel like it's been the same. But now it's more like, I want to meet new people. I want people to introduce me to people, and really it's like, yes, I'm having a good time, but to me it's always a good networking opportunity because you just never know, so
Yeah, that's one thing the hospitality gives you, is the best networking you could ever have. Like, I know people with the most amazing Rolodexes of just clients that have come in over the years.
it's amazing. And the thing, what I will say is, it's probably best too that I'm not working in the industry while I'm, pursuing this endeavor, because it's sad to say, but when you're there and you're delivering a bottle to the table, you're perceived a lot differently. You're not really perceived as a professional, or whatever the case may be, not intelligent. I unfortunately have had a lot of those conversations where someone would ask me what I did and I would be like, oh, I'm in law school. And I remember one guy in particular was like, I would have never expected that. It's just like, I didn't know how to take it, I'm just like, okay, so why? So it's like, and even when I did real estate back home, I would try to network while I was at Excess, like, hey, here's my card. Like, we'd talk about real estate. And then it would be more like a call because not because they wanted to do business, but because it's like dating purposes, or something like that. And so it's hard. Yes, it's a good place to be able to meet people, but while you're working in people have like a different image of you than a professional one. So
Yeah, and that's one of the most unfortunate things too. I mean, that used to happen to me all the time behind the bar. People are like, so what else do you do? I'm like, this, like, you're just a
right,
bartender or something. I'm like, okay, I'm a bartender. I make six figures. I own three properties. I do. I'm like, what the fuck?
right,
Go back to your fucking
right.
cubicle. Get the fuck off my bar.
Right. And I don't understand where people like they're so pompous sometimes. It's like, a lot of people, and not knocking anyone's profession, but it's like they sit behind a desk, from 9 to 5, and they report to somebody, and they have to clock in and they have to clock out, and they have to ask for these vacations and stuff. And it's like people in the industry, yeah, we are an employee, but it's like we have all this free time to do so many other things. And I know majority of the people that are in the industry that that are friends of mine, yes, they have real estate endeavors and they own their own businesses, and they just have so much else going on that I just find it odd that people seem to knock anything in the industry, because I think it's like the smartest thing you could possibly do, just to get ahead financially. Um, and that and gain experiences. A lot of people, if they get out of college or they start a regular 9 to 5 right away, like they're not making the money that we are to be able to go to Thailand or Bali or what's an expensive place, France. Trying to think of like something really expensive that you guys can't afford but we can. It's like, so, so I don't know, like it is very crazy to me though. I've had so many conversations, and it's hard not to be offended, because you're just like, intelligence and like I don't know. Anyways.
It's true, but I used to get offended too, especially like, I mean, as a man, people would like degrade me at the bar, and like it would fuck with me mentally,
Right.
and it would. I'd go home like, oh, fuck, I'm just a bartender. Like I'd feel down about myself, even though I had everything going on. Like I invested well, I did everything else, and I had a great life. It would
Yeah.
like mentally like kind of screw with me, and I
Right.
hated that. And that's why like I made the jump several times from bartender to management. And
Hmm.
it's funny, my first management job was managing the Pink Taco at,
Okay.
Hard Rock, and I literally made probably a third of the amount of money, but my business card said floor supervisor. Oh, you're
Right.
a manager. I'm like, I took like a two-thirds of a pay cut. So now you come back, but people like looked at me like higher end, like, oh, you're
Yeah.
a manager, like more esteem. I'm like, I did it for 6 months, went broke, went back to bartending. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah. 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 You have more responsibility. You're
I was
there
doing
longer. You're on
80 hours
salary.
a week for a fraction of the money. I'm like, this is
Yes.
terrible. And then I did that several other times. I kept going back because again, it kept messing with me mentally. Oh, I'm just a bartender. I'm a 30-year-old bartender. I'm a 35-year-old bartender. My whole
Yeah.
goal is I don't want to be a 40-year-old bartender. And I
Right.
got out two weeks before my or 2 months before my 40th birthday, and that's what I took. Became a director. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm a director, like the echelon of what you can be above, whatever. And still,
Yeah.
I still wasn't making bartender money. I was working
Right.
way more hours.
Yeah.
I didn't wear a suit, which I'm not a tie guy.
Right. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
And,
We don't
and
have to wear ties, but I'm not a suit person either. I'll tell you that. I like going in the office with my ripped jeans and my blazer.
well, it's funny. I was the only director on property who I didn't wear a tie and I wore chucks with my suit. So I was like, "Who
Yeah.
are you?" I'm like, "Whatever."
Yeah. No one cares. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Like I don't need to wear a power suit to command authority. Okay, my actions speak for themselves. So
Right.
if I go wear jeans, actually I think I did show up in jeans a few times. My boss said, "What
Yeah.
are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Go home, go to bed." Plus I worked at night and they all went home and went to sleep. So
Right.
I ran the
Yeah.
place at night for 4.5 years.
Yeah. You're like, I'm here to direct. That's what I'm here doing.
Right. Do you think you're like happier and healthier now since you're out? I mean, you seem like a
Uh,
pretty happy, healthy person already. So
yeah. I can't say that I'm any happier. I mean, I feel like I'm always pretty happy, you know what I mean? But I'm excited to start a new chapter, that's for sure, and I've been really excited to learn new things and meet new people and, create my clientele and kind of just work for myself. So it's just something new. I wouldn't say, that I'm anything better than what I was. I will say, like, industry is draining, especially in Vegas, because the hours are so long, and it's just tiresome sometimes, and like you do have to deal with a lot of craziness. I'll just leave it at that. So, yeah, exactly. But, I know, I think this is just, everyone's always starting new chapters, and I wasn't miserable. Maybe towards the end, I was like, all right, like what's something that's going to be new? Like what's next? But, yeah, no, I think I'm the same.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Sometimes I even miss it because I'm like, I miss hanging out with my friends while I'm working, but it's not actually working. It's like,
Yeah. I know, and
fun.
that's the great things about hospitality. I mean, I have lifelong friends that I met, washing dishes behind the bar 20 years ago.
Yes. Yes, I know. Yeah, those are lifelong lasting relationships, honestly. Like I maybe talk to a handful of people I went to high school with. I rarely talk to anyone I went to college with. And with this, like the girls I worked with at Access, I mean, we've been friends for 10 plus years now. And even if we don't talk every day, I call them 6 months down the line, and it's just like, we all get together when it's someone's wedding or someone's baby shower, and it's just like they're just always going to be there.
Yep, that's awesome. Well, do you have any advice that you give other people that are looking to get out of the industry?
Um, I would say it's different for everyone, I think some would say stay in it as long as you can until you find what you're doing and then get good at what you're doing, and that way you have the source of income, And I do think that's a good idea, but some people need that hard cut to be able to put their full forth effort into whatever other endeavor that they're choosing. So, I would just say that's like a personal decision on what you decide to do. I would say take a really good hard look at your finances. And then decide from there, That's literally the one piece of advice that I could give anybody. If I could go back to like 23-year-old Ashley, I would just be like, pay attention, to everything you're spending, everything that you're putting in the bank, and like just pay attention to it. Cause I thought I was doing really well, and I was. I can't say I wasn't, but I could have done better. So,
I think that comes up in every single interview that we do. Everyone says, if I can go back and kick myself for all the money that I blew instead of investing
right.
it, all those
Right.
boxes full of cash that I wish I still had laying around.
Yeah, right. Seriously. It's like, I mean, easy come, easy go, just how it happens. So,
Ashley, I appreciate your time. I know you have like several more Zoom meetings you got to get to.
yes.
Um, but you got anything to add before we take off?
I'm No, no, I don't. I mean, if you have any more questions for me,
So
then
if anybody wants to take a look at their finances, how can they get a hold of you?
yes. So you can email me. Do I just say my email?
No, you can say it, and I'll put a link
Okay,
there as
cool.
well.
So it's Ashley.nichols at westpackwealth.com. You can call me 702-415-4839. You can visit my LinkedIn. It's under Ashley Nichols. I don't know what the actual, but they'd find it. But yeah, so email, phone call, doesn't matter. Even if you wanted to do, so I also do like business valuations for people. They're complimentary. If anyone ever wants to sit down and look at their finances, I don't charge for you to sit down with me and do a consultation. It's for me, it's all about planning and getting people comfortable with where they need to be. And then if you wanted to become a client, we talk about it at that point in time. But I'm here for anyone who, want some kind of guidance and or structure, I guess. So
That's awesome. Well, Ashley, again, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.
yes, we'll see you soon. Probably
All
this
right,
weekend.
all right, probably.
Okay.
Take care, Ashley. Have a
Bye.
good
Have
day.
a good day.
Bye.
Bye.